Deion Sanders, along with his son SHEDEUR Sanders, would help reinvent Jackson State, as the two would lead them to the Celebration Bowl in just 2 seasons with SHEDEUR under center. After his father was hired by the Colorado Buffaloes, it wasn't long after that SHEDEUR would jump ship as well to become the Buffaloes' new starting quarterback. Going into his junior season, NFL teams and scouts were still wary of SHEDEUR's skills, and if he wanted to be drafted, he would need to complete these 7 challenges throughout the next 2 years. Heading into the Rocky Mountain Showdown against Colorado State, the Buffaloes looked completely different on the offensive side of the ball this year, and with the help of Travis Hunter, Colorado fans were hoping for a great year. SHEDEUR still needed to prove himself at the Division I level, but against a poor Colorado State team, SHEDEUR was able to find Travis Hunter multiple times, and what would be a big win for the Colorado Buffaloes as Travis Hunter went off for 200 plus yards. Southern Illinois, an FCS school, was up next, and Sanders was running the play action perfectly, getting to a hot start early on, and this game ended in an absolute blowout. Colorado would be playing James Madison next, in which they would destroy another team, and they would follow it up with another win by getting over 40 against Oregon State. The Buffalo's first true test was here as they were playing ranked 13th Oregon, so no one was surprised when the Buffalo were down by 4 going into halftime. To this point, the defense had been playing poorly and the offense hadn't been doing much better, but luckily found Travis Hunter here, and SHEDEUR was trying to prove that he was more than just a pocket passer as he rolled out to the right, and later on Kavisier Smoke would get in for a touchdown, and later in the game scoring was coming easily from both teams, so it was no surprise when Oregon would take a 4-point lead with 2 minutes left with both teams scoring over 30 points, but Coach Deion would make an amazing play call as he would get Travis Hunter a one-on-one, and SHEDEUR was able to take advantage of that, throwing to him over the top, but the defense would give up yet another touchdown, which means SHEDEUR would have to lead the offense down the field yet again, and after making some incredible plays to get down the field, he was able to find Michael Harrison on the out route here, and a couple plays later, after scrambling to the right, he found Harrison again for a touchdown, leading to a 45-42 victory over Oregon, and a game where SHEDEUR saw his first Player of the Game award against a top 25 team. The team would be traveling to Tempe to play Arizona State, and this was never really a close game as it was just too hot in Arizona for the team to play well. Down by 7 in the fourth quarter, SHEDEUR was looking to avoid back-to-back losses against Arizona teams, and luckily this year offense hadn't been an issue as they've been putting up tons of points each and every game, which would be the case here as both offenses had 35 points going into overtime, and SHEDEUR was able to get close to the 5-yard line, and on the very next play he found his favorite target, Travis Hunter, for a touchdown, but the defense would let Arizona answer back, but they would miss their extra point, leading to us winning in the first overtime. Our first top 10 opponent was here as we were playing UCLA, and coming out of halftime, both sides of the ball have been playing well as SHEDEUR was leading the offense to a 7-point lead, but Sanders still wasn't perfect as he was missing easy reads, leading to the special teams making it a 10-point game. UCLA would get a field goal to bring it within 7, and SHEDEUR showed great pocket poise as he was able to sit in the pocket and make a great throw to Jimmy Horn Jr. on the side, and after getting another field goal with a minute left, the Buffaloes had their first win against a top 10 team this season, with SHEDEUR Sanders yet again becoming player of the game against a top 25 opponent. 8 games into the season, Colorado was at the top of the Pac-12 South, but the tough games would be continuing as they were traveling to Washington. The offense had been playing well to this point, which is why in the fourth quarter they were up by 3 points, and after SHEDEUR Sanders took a hit from the defensive lineman, he made an amazing throw to Travis Hunter, and the defense would get another stop, so as long as SHEDEUR could pick up this third down conversion, which he did, the team was able to run out the rest of the clock, leading to another victory. Colorado is now ranked 15th in the nation going against Cal, and this game was never really that close as the Buffaloes held on the lead the entire game. This would be one of the last times we play USC for a little while because they would be moving from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten after this year, so Deion and SHEDEUR wanted to get off to a hot start against the 7th-ranked Trojans. Closing in on the end of the season, SHEDEUR had made great improvements throughout this entire year as his ball placement was amazing, and that touchdown pass would lead to him breaking the school passing touchdown record for a season. Colorado had been surpassing every single expectation that was set before this year, and it was all because of SHEDEUR reading the defense perfectly, as he was able to do here yet again, getting another touchdown in the first quarter, and his confidence had been skyrocketing this entire year as he was finally starting to trust his cannon of an arm and Travis Hunter's amazing speed to break over the top, and that touchdown would lead to SHEDEUR breaking yet another school record for the most passing yards in a season, and after SHEDEUR was able to lead the offense down the field yet again, he was able to find the running back here for another touchdown, and this 14-point victory would be Colorado's 3rd win over a top 10 team this season, thus leading to one of the goals being completed, and this performance would catapult Colorado to number 7 in the nation, completing yet another goal. The last game of the year would be against Utah, and the winner of this game would be going to the Pac-12 championship, but it seemed as if Colorado never got off the bus as they were down 20 points in the third quarter and SHEDEUR had to do everything on his own, but even he wasn't able to carry the team as he made a terrible read here, and Colorado's Pac-12 championship hopes were completely obliterated by a 30-point loss to Utah. Sanders would finish the season with over 3,600 passing yards along with 36 touchdowns, and Washington would go on to beat Utah by 2 in the Pac-12 championship. The last game of the year would send the Buffaloes to the Alamo Bowl against number 25 Kansas, and even though this game didn't mean much, Sanders was still trying to knock it off his goal list, but the Buffalo had been struggling all games, especially with passes like this, and late in the fourth quarter they found themselves down by 9 until SHEDEUR was able to air the top off to Travis Hunter for another big play touchdown, and with a minute left and no timeout, SHEDEUR was leading the offense down the field only down by 5, and when he was getting close to the red zone he ended up coughing up the ball, and that play would lead to Kansas beating Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. Sanders would pass the 95 overall threshold, completing another goal, and last year would help Colorado start the year ranked at 25, but the defense took a major step back over the offseason. It wouldn't matter though, as Colorado State still wasn't enough for the Buffaloes, and Deion Sanders was hoping for a similar game against Georgia Southern, so Deion wasn't happy when his son wasn't playing well all the way through the first half, as late in the third quarter the offense had only put up 10 points and the team was down by multiple possessions until this touchdown catch right here, and that touchdown must have finally let SHEDEUR settle down and get into the game as he found Travis Hunter for an amazing pass here, and with the lead, SHEDEUR was finally willing to risk it all as he was throwing it up to Travis Hunter almost every play. By the end of the game, the offense would finally turn it on as they scored over 40 points in a blowout win. Hawaii would be the next opponent, and it looked like Colorado wasn't slowing down on the offensive side of the ball, and the second quarter where they put up 21 points would help lead the team to a 31-24 victory. We were at home yet again hosting Cal, and it wouldn't be late until the second quarter until the offense finally started moving the ball, but thankfully our defense was holding Cal to only 3 points, which they would continue to do as we had a 14-3 lead going into the fourth. Even though there were a lot of players that left between this year and last year and a lot that graduated, SHEDEUR was able to do a lot with what he had, leading to another great performance by him and an 18-point victory over Pac-12 opponent Cal. The Buffaloes would be traveling to Oregon for the next game, and SHEDEUR was trying to prove that he was more than just a pocket passer as he rolled out to the right and found Assad Wassim on the right side for an amazing passed ball, and he would do something similar later on that drive as he rolled out to the right again, finding Travis Hunter for a touchdown, but the team found themselves down by 4 in the third quarter and SHEDEUR was still trying to make things happen with his legs after a big run here, but he started getting in his head as he threw an interception, and with only 40 seconds left in the game it wouldn't matter as Colorado scored a touchdown because Oregon would end up handing the Buffaloes their first loss of the year. The Buffaloes are now 4th in the Pac-12 South after that loss, and ranked 25 San Diego State was up next, and they were one of the new additions to the Pac-12 after USC and UCLA left for the Big Ten earlier this year. The team found themselves down by 5 late in the fourth quarter, so Deion started calling conservative plays, which helped calm the team down as they were able to take the lead, and after going into overtime, they were able to kick the game-winning field goal. This would be the third time that SHEDEUR was the player of the game against a top 25 opponent, leading to another goal being completed. Fresno State was the other addition along with San Diego State to the Pac-12, and no one was confused when Colorado absolutely destroyed them. SHEDEUR would be leading the team against a formidable team in Washington State, as the Buffaloes now sat second in the Pac-12 South. Late in the third quarter, the only thing keeping this game interesting was field goals as the score was 6-3, and Deion was getting bored watching on the sidelines, so he told SHEDEUR to pass it to Deuce Roberson over the middle for a touchdown, and from that point out, Sanders was playing amazing with his great vision every single play, proving that he was more than just a standard quarterback running out to the right side, and helping Colorado to a 10-point victory. The toughest game was yet to come against number 2 Washington, who was looking for revenge, and with only 15 seconds left in the second quarter, the Huskies had double the Buffalo score in the first half until this play here, but after the defense would give up a touchdown coming out of halftime, SHEDEUR made things worse with this interception, so now it was time for Colorado to start clawing their way back into this game, and even though the offense had been playing pretty well besides the interception, the defense hadn't been able to stop the Huskies all game, leading to an 11-point loss. The Buffaloes were looking for revenge against Arizona State, but their woes were continuing as they were down by 5 in the second half. Teams were starting to figure out the Colorado offense a little bit, but SHEDEUR was making plays like this, which were Mahomes-esque and absolutely unguardable, and teams seemed to forget that Travis Hunter is one of the best players in the entire nation, and after that touchdown, Sanders needed some more late-game heroics as the team found themselves down with 40 seconds left, and after getting a touchdown to start off the first overtime, Deion decided to risk it all by going for the 2-point conversion, which was stopped, and Arizona State ended up winning the game. Those back-to-back losses made it unlikely that we were going to be playing in the Pac-12 championship, but there was still a lot to play for against Arizona and the rest of the teams this year, as SHEDEUR still had several goals that he needed to complete if he wanted to be drafted at the end of the year. With under 3 minutes left in the third quarter, SHEDEUR ran the read option perfectly, and he followed it up by placing the ball perfectly to Travis Hunter here, who was able to moss the cornerback, and a couple plays later, SHEDEUR was able to find his tight end for the touchdown. The offense had finally woken up and exploded on the scoreboard, leading to the Buffalo putting up 46 points. SHEDEUR's last regular season game was against Utah, and even though they had already clinched a spot in the conference championship game, the Buffaloes were trying to play a spoiler for them so they wouldn't make the playoffs, so SHEDEUR was more focused than he had ever been. It didn't matter if the offensive line wasn't playing well or if the receivers weren't going to do anything, because SHEDEUR was going to make sure that he found open targets every single play, getting Travis Hunter here and following it up with a touchdown to his tight end on the very next play. The 31-24 victory over number 3 Utah would help complete the goal of beating a top 3 opponent, and SHEDEUR finished another goal by breaking the school career passing touchdowns record. SHEDEUR was given yet another chance in the Alamo Bowl against number 18 Texas in what would be his last game of his college career. SHEDEUR was ready to make his next step to the NFL, and he wanted to prove himself this game against a formidable opponent, finding Travis Hunter for a wide open touchdown to start the game, and the Longhorns just seemed to not learn from their mistakes as they had one-on-one coverage against Travis Hunter again, so late in the second quarter the Buffaloes are up by 4, but Travis Hunter fumbled the ball, and the Buffaloes found themselves down by 3 going into halftime after this failed conversion, and Sanders knew that he needed to put the team on his back to have a great second half in order to come back in this game, as he wanted to complete his last goal and get drafted at the end of the year. That touchdown would help, but the Buffaloes would still be down by 3 going into the fourth quarter, and that was until SHEDEUR found Assad Wassim on the left side, and from there the team was able to run out the ball, getting another touchdown before time expired, and Deion and SHEDEUR Sanders had completely turned around around the Buffaloes, as SHEDEUR had an amazing game to end his college career, as the Buffaloes would go on to an 11-point victory and winning the Alamo Bowl, and SHEDEUR Sanders finally had a bowl game under his belt, leading to him completing the final goal, and after putting up some impressive numbers in both his years at Colorado, he was drafted in the first round to the Arizona Cardinals.